Welcome to Gunfire Reviews Podcast.
We have an exclusive interview now with the mayor of Washington, D.C., Muriel Bowser. Mayor Bowser, thanks for joining us this morning. We just heard you say you are scared for our democracy. That's about as blunt.
Mr. Chairman, what happened at the Capitol on January 6th was as wrong can be. It is not what America is about. Political violence of any kind is wrong. We condemn this violence. We commend the men and women of the Capitol Police for their bravery, and we mourn those who've lost their lives. All political violence should be condemned all the time. This should not be a partisan issue. Republicans have been consistent. We condemned the violence last summer. We condemned the violence last week. Congress needs to stop this effort to remove the president from office just 1 week before he is set to leave. Continued calls to impeach the president or remove him from office with using the 25th Amendment, I don't think are healthy for our nation. Rushing this resolution to the floor will do nothing to unify or heal the country. Under the plan Speaker Pelosi laid out on Sunday, the Democrats plan to impeach the president a second time just days before, as I said, he is set to leave. These actions will only again continue to divide the nation. Turning to the 25th Amendment into a political weapon by demanding that the vice president invoke it to remove the president from office, I think is just wrong. Let's be clear. Democrats have been wanting to remove President Trump from office since he won the election in 2016.
Houses say, no, it's okay. But I don't think we're going to use this route. It's untested. It's a little bit vague, but it shows where we are as a country, that we're having a, frankly, semi-serious conversation about it.
So Professor, can I just, to your point, I'm looking at Section 3 right now. No person shall be a senator or representative in Congress or elector of president and vice president or hold any office, civil or military, under the United States or any state, who having previously taken an oath as a member of Congress or an officer of the United States or state legislature or executive shall have engaged in insurrection or rebellion against the same or given aid or comfort to the enemies thereof. So it mentions the electors of president and vice president, but it doesn't mention the office of the president or the vice president. So could the Supreme Court or even lower courts say, you know what, it covers a lot here, it just doesn't cover the executive, and so, like, you don't have a case?
They could.
Well, I think they were primarily raising it in regards to Senators Hawley and Cruz because of their opposition to the Electoral College votes. I think that's because, you know, the conversation was, if you contributed to what we saw on Wednesday, what are the options in terms of, you know, a punishment for that behavior? Sorry, Professor.
No, I was going to say,
And as he heads to the U.S.-Mexico border, President Trump is speaking publicly after days of silence. White House correspondent Kira Phillips joins me now for more on that. Kira, what did the president have to say, and why take this trip now?
Right. Well, first of all, let's get to what he said. We've decided not to even air it because what he said was just simply, I think, delusional is the best way to put it. And that's, of course, what critics are saying now as soon as they heard his words, because he actually said to reporters, we don't even know who they are, looked at my speech, looked at my words, and I have no regrets, and I said nothing that was inappropriate. I think we just need to move on, because that is just simply not true when you look at what happened last week, and it's just completely disrespectful to those who died and the violence that took place up on Capitol Hill. So let's move on to why he's making this trip. Look, I mean, he's trying to save his legacy, right? He's heading to Alamo, Texas, not to be confused with the Alamo, by the way, and, you know, he's speaking speaking to his base. I mean, the core issue during his campaigning and when he did step into office was that he was going to build a, quote, big, beautiful wall, and he was going to keep the Mexicans out. And you remember all the controversy surrounding the comments that he made about immigrants. But he's speaking to his base. He's trying to galvanize his supporters. He's trying to go somewhere where he thinks, okay, they'll pay attention to me. This is a big part of my legacy. This was one of my big promises to the country. But I have to tell you, Diane, I think it's being completely overshadowed by what's happening on the Hill and how Democrats are going forward with yet another impeachment.
And at least 3 House Democrats have now tested positive for COVID-19 since the siege last week, saying some of the lawmakers they were in lockdown with refused to wear masks. Now at least one congresswoman is calling for fines. What's the latest?
That's right. So this just came through about 5 minutes ago, Diane. Democrat from Illinois, Brad Snyder, is the 3rd member to test positive now for
Good evening.